Hello and welcome to Klusster. Today I'm going to show you how to start your Klusster account, how to populate your Klusster profile, how to write and activate a Klusster article, and finally how to have that article submitted to a Klusster publication. All right, so let's get started. First, you want to go to klusster.com. That's Klusster.com. Once you get to the homepage, you'll find that there's a white area that you can join Klusster. In order to join, you have to create a unique username, you have to use a unique email address, and you have to create a secure password. Once you click and agree to the terms and conditions, you can click the green Join Klusster button. Alternatively, you can also sign in with your Facebook or Twitter credentials. Once you sign in or create your account using one of these three options, you're going to receive an email to the email address that you used for your sign up. Check your inbox or check your spam folder if there's nothing new in your inbox to find the email from Klusster. The email is called Confirm Your Email to activate your Klusster account. When you open that email, you'll see a link in the body of the email that says Confirm My Email Now. Click that link. It's just a security measure so that we're making sure it's a real email address that's owned by you. When you confirm that account, you'll automatically be logged into your new Klusster account. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my own Klusster account so I can continue the tour. So as we log in, okay, I'm now logged into my own Klusster account. The first page that you always see when you log into Klusster is your feed page. This page is all about you. Anything that you've chosen to, any publications that you've chosen to follow, or any authors that you've chosen to follow, the latest content from them will be shown here. You can manage what you're following or what you're subscribed to in your feed settings. So if you click on the feed settings button, you'll see a list of what you're already subscribed to. I think we automatically subscribe you to one or two publications by default, which you can choose to unsubscribe or keep them in your feed for future reference. Now, if I go back to my feed, the next thing we want to do is start and populate your Klusster profile. So you'll see a little green head on the top nav bar on the right-hand side. That's your default profile photo. Click that photo and you'll get a drop-down menu and slide down to the My Author Profile section. When you open up that section, this is where you'll see the fields that you need to populate to get your Klusster profile set up. It's just like your own Facebook page. As a Facebook user, you need to have a Facebook page with populated information before you can do much else on the platform. And the same is here. So to set up your profile, you can select a banner photo that represents you and your brand, and you can also choose a profile photo, which is perhaps a headshot or maybe your business logo, depending on how you want to be seen as an author on the platform. The next thing you want to do is customize your author name. We auto-populate the username you set up when you started your account, but you can create something more detailed here. Finally, you want to fill in your About the Author section. You have 300 characters, so you got to keep it brief, but you want to let your readers know who you are and what you're all about. The next section are topics. These are tags that you can custom select that help you be searched or found on the platform based on various search terms. So what is it that is relevant to you? You can see the tabs that I've chosen here. We require a minimum of 3 tabs, but I recommend having maybe closer to 8 or 10 or 12 tabs total. The final section is all of your contact information. I highly recommend populating as much as you can here because you want to make it easy for your readers to contact you. Your website, a phone number, perhaps a location if location is relevant to your business, particularly if you're a local business, and then any of the Facebook page, any of the social media pages that you have and that you are active on. Once you're ready, save your profile, and you can even preview what your profile looks like as you go. So this is my profile. You can see the various that I had selected or that I had populated for my profile, the band photo, my headshot, my name, and finally my description and my contact information. The rest is content that I populated myself over time. So let's go to the next step. Let's create your first article. So you go to your content dashboard. So there are several icons. The little home icon will take you back to your feed page where you initially started and we logged in. The next little sheet of paper, that's your content dashboard. third one I'll talk about in a minute is your publication dashboard. And finally, the little bell, which will become meaningful when you start submitting content to be published in different publications, receive notifications as that activity takes place. So the first thing we're going to do is click on the content icon to get to your content dashboard. Once this page loads, the first thing that you're going to see at the top is a graph. Now your graph is going to have a horizontal line because you don't have any content yet, so you don't have any stats. But once you start to have content published and you start to get traffic to that content, this graph will allow you to view some of your stats. Also, when you scroll down past that chart, you will have no cards here because you have no content yet, but you will see that you have two tabs, an active tab and an inactive tab. In my case, I currently have 17 active articles and I have 20 inactive articles. So you will have 0 and 0, but shortly you will have one active article, hopefully. So let's get started. Slide back up to the top and click the new content button. This will ask you to confirm that yes, in fact, you want to start a new piece of content. This brings you into the Klusster editor. If you've ever used Microsoft Word, this is a very similar environment with a few more restrictions than what you might be used to in Word. The first section is a title. So you want to create a new title here. I'll call it, "This is a new article." The second section is a description. So if you've read any magazine articles, often below the title, the first part is a description to help the reader understand what they're going to see or read or experience in the following article. This is the, okay. The third element is a photo, an image. This image is mandatory. Every article has at least one image. This is the image that will be shown throughout the platform and will also be shown on any social media posts that are made of this particular piece of content. So this image is important. It's the eye candy that's going to attract people to want to click and read what you have to say. So we give you a default image, which is kind of an abstract kind of water bubble image. But if you want to select your own image, you click select image, and you can navigate through your hard drive to pick whichever image is relevant to you. So I'll choose this image here, and it's going to upload this image, and you can also decide if you want to zoom in or zoom out, and you can kind of move the image around so you can crop it accordingly. I don't want to have this one cropped at all. So there we go. I'm going to save that image and save changes. Now, then the section below the first image is where you get into the body of your article. So this is the article body content. You can make multiple paragraphs. I can give it different heading formats. This is a heading. I can embed another image, so I can, find another image that I like and choose that image, embed it into the body of the article. So I'll pick this image here. That's a pretty winter one. Okay, there it is. I click insert, and there it is now. I might also choose to So this is a hyperlink is a very important element to any article or any piece of content. I'm going to show you how to embed or integrate a hyperlink. So I've highlighted the word "this" because I want that word to be the clickable word. I'm going to use my Klusster Media webpage link. This is my webpage for SEO services that we provide. So I'm going to copy that link, and I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on the little link tool in my toolbox, and I'm going to paste that link address into the field provided. When I click the check mark, that's what makes that word "this" a hyperlink. Okay, so let's say that I'm happy with this content. There are two tabs at the top: styling content, settings, call to action, activation. So I'm going to navigate into the second tab. This is where I set up my call to action. This is a very helpful field. Every article that's hosted on Klusster has a call to action form. What that means is that you as an author can give your readers a reason to contact you. So in my case, I might offer a free SEO consultation, right? So that's my offer. And I'm going to say, I'm going to give them some direction. I'm going to say, fill in the form below and I will contact you to your online traffic. There we go. So I'm telling my user what they're going to get and what to do to get it. When we look at the article, you'll see that there's a field and a form that your readers can fill in. When they fill in that form, you get an email right away and there's a lead. The next thing that I'm going to do is fill in my tags. These tags, the first one is about location, and these tags are relevant to this particular piece of content. It's similar to the tags that we set up when we were setting up our profile, but in this case, it's about this specific article as opposed to kind of more generically or more generally yourself as an author. So I'm not going to fill in a location tag because that's less relevant for my business, but I am going to set up some content tags. I'm going to call, say, SEO, SEO. I'm going to say content strategy. There we go. So that's enough for now. The last section on this page is content expiry. This is optional. This is because if you don't need to set it if it's an evergreen piece of content that's not relevant to a particular time frame. But say you were writing something about Valentine's Day, for example, and you wanted this to be deactivated automatically on February 15th. You could put in the February 15th date here, and then rest assured that this content would no longer be active beyond that selected date. Okay, so I'm going to click Save Content. You can see here this SEO rating. This SEO rating will build as you integrate more and more components into your content. And of course, the higher this rating, the more optimized or hopefully the better this article will perform from an SEO perspective. If I click on this little question mark, there's lots of good information here, which are some general best practices that you can pay attention to and integrate into the content of this article to help build this score even further. As you build the score, the better the performance of this article should be. So that's a great piece of helpful information as you create your content. So let's say we're happy to go. The content, we're happy with the content, we've got the call to action set up, and we're happy with how things are looking and we're ready to activate. So here on the top right, you want to activate now. This means that this article is now published and live in my portfolio. It's giving me a little notice to say, hey, good job, you're done publishing your content. Why don't you post it to social media? This is a great best practice. Anytime you invest in creating content, leverage that content and get it out there and distribute it to any platform that you are currently using. I'm not going to do that right now for the purposes of this demonstration, but just know that that option is there and that's a really good thing to do. So here's my article. There's my image. There's me as the author. There's the heading formats that I chose. Here's the hyperlink that I added on the word this. So if I click on that hyperlink, it's going to open up my Klusster Media webpage. My article is now published. So let's talk about, and so I go back to, if I click on my name as an author down here, that will take me to the home page of my portfolio. So here we are on my portfolio homepage. I'm going to give it a second to load. And here we are. You can see this article that I just published here. It's the newest article in my portfolio. And I can click into it and view it anytime I like. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Klusster publications. A Klusster publication has some parallels to a Facebook group. So in order to join a Facebook group, number one, you have to have a Facebook profile. And number two, you got to have something to post. Klusster is kind of similar. You got to have a Klusster profile and you got to have something to post in order to become part of a Klusster publication. So we've set up our profile and we have an article ready to go. So the next thing is to find a publication that we want to contribute to. So I'm going to search the term, I'm finding a publication that I'm already aware of. It's called One Life. So I type that search term into the Klusster search bar. Anytime you search in the Klusster search bar, you get results in 3 buckets. You get content, you get publications, and you get authors. So we always show you the content search results first. So these all somehow have relevance to this term, One Life. Publications, we're going to find that there's several publications that have the phrase One Life associated. And then if I look at authors, there's several authors also that in some way are related to One Life. So if I go back here to publications, because that's what I'm looking for, I'm going to navigate to One Life Burlington, just for an example. One Life Burlington is a local group, or a group of local businesses who are working together online to post and share each other's content to their mutual audiences of Burlington community members. So it makes sense for these businesses to work together online. So if I scroll down here on the left, I can see there's a list of contributors, which if I expand it out, in this case, there's about 15 or 20 contributors that are all working together, and they're all local businesses in the Burlington community. Now, let's say I want to contribute. I want to be part of this particular cluster. I can see here on the left that there is a publication manager, and the publication manager for this publication is called One Life Networks. There's a couple things that I can do here. I can send the manager a personal message where I can ask them some questions. I can inquire about how this cluster works, or I might just submit my content. If I know this is the one I want to be part of and this is the one I want to work with, click the Submit Content button. From there, you're going to get a list of all of the active articles that are in your portfolio. You won't see any of the inactive ones because those are only visible to you, but you'll see all of the active articles. Now, in this case, I have quite a few active articles. And if I scroll down, the new article that we just created that I called This is a New Article is right here. So if this was the one I wanted to submit, I would click that article and scroll down and click Request. Now, I'm not actually going to do that in this case because I don't want that article to go into any publication, but let's assume I was ready to go and this really was a quality article. I click that button and I submit request. Now, at that point, this manager, One Life Networks, receives a notification. They get an email right to their inbox letting them know that they have received a request from Laura McCarty to have their article called This is a New Article published in their publication called One Life Burlington. They will also have a notification sitting here in their notification panel in their Klusster profile. So the manager will know right away that there's a request pending. The moment that that manager accepts my request, my article would be the newest article posted or published in this cluster. So here you can see Clinton Howell, his article was approved, or his request to publish this article was approved by this manager 2 days ago. And this is the newest article that's in this particular publication. So hopefully that helps you understand how to get started. We've covered how to create your Klusster account, populate your Klusster profile, write a Klusster article, and finally submit an article to a Klusster publication. From there, I hope you have a great time and explore and collaborate online to drive distribution. Thanks so much.